There's a book you can read to your children that will make your job as a parent a lot easier. This book will teach them lessons in character, how to distinguish right from wrong, about gratitude, respect, and perseverance.
I wonder if I would be the target demographic for this video, because I do not have kids, and this video is all about what's a good book to read your kids. And let's find out.
And that's in the opening chapters. Parents have been reading this book to their children for a very long time. It's one reason it's a
other parents have been reading it to their kids, so it must be good.
Perpetual bestseller. This book, of course, is the Bible.
Oh, of course. Yeah, the people have been reading the Bible to their kids for a long time. Therefore, it must be good. I wonder if they would have the same opinion about the Quran. A lot of parents have read their kids the Quran for hundreds of years. Or what about Communist Manifesto? A lot of people have read the Communist Manifesto. I wonder if they'd have the same opinion there. Hey, parents have been reading their kids this book for a long time, so it must be good.
And you don't have to be religious to read it, and your children don't have to be religious to enjoy it and get a whole lot out of it.
You hear that? You don't have to be religious to enjoy the Bible, even though the whole purpose of the Bible is to introduce people to religion.
Decency, kindness, charity, selflessness, and sacrifice.
What's good about selflessness and sacrifice? Is it good to... I guess being selfish in this life and looking out for your own self-interest and trying to achieve things and be successful and be happy, I guess that's all irrelevant when there's an afterlife. When you die, you go to another dimension and you're rewarded if you're a good boy or a good gal. So yeah, I guess selfishness is not really a virtue in Christianity or Judaism. But I strongly disagree. I don't think selflessness or sacrifice are good things to teach your kids. Think about it. If you have a kid, if you're raising a kid, would you tell them to sacrifice for others and be selfless and put others' interests and happiness above your child's interests and happiness and life and goals and dreams? Are these good values to teach your kids? Don't work hard. Don't try to have a good career. Just be selfless. Focus on others first and sacrifice for others.
They're all right there. Consider the story of David and Goliath. 9 feet tall, clad in armor.
9 feet tall. I didn't know that human beings existed that were taller than 8 feet. This is a miracle. And this is a weird contradiction, or double standard, I should say, that conservatives have been playing for the last few years. On one hand, they say, because seculars and atheists like myself criticize the Bible because there's just a lot of ridiculous nonsense in the Bible, like people being 9 feet tall. And what was it? I took a gander. I glanced at the Bible earlier today and noticed Noah, in the book of Noah. Noah is a few hundred years old. Doesn't that seem like out of the realm of possibility? People living to 600, the age of 600 years old. Not to mention all of the ghosts and demons and angels and spirits and shit. Oh, the devil. Woo. Yeah, people are 9 feet tall in the Bible. But the double standard is that conservatives have been playing is that, the Bible isn't really meant to be taken literally. Like this guy says, it's all about the stories and the values and the messages that are taught in the Bible. It's not supposed to be taken literally. Come on now. But if you don't take the Bible literally, then why believe in God? Isn't the whole purpose of the Bible and these biblical texts is to sell people on the idea of a higher being that created the earth and created life and created the universe and all that crap? I mean, the 10 Commandments, those seem pretty serious. Are those supposed to be meant to be taken literally? Is the story of Jesus, the New Testament, and the rebirth and the resurrection, is that all supposed to just be a message, an allegory, a character arc, as Jordan Peterson likes to say? Oh, it's all about the messaging, and it teaches good values. You don't have to take it literally. That's the whole point. You're supposed to take it literally, or else why believe in God?
Goliath is the most fearsome warrior of his day. How could he not be? He's 9 feet tall, for goodness sake. Who wants to go against a giant like that? No Israelite, that's for sure. Except for one, a skinny shepherd boy named David. This boy has 3 things going for him: courage, a slingshot, and faith that God is with him.
So you hear that. Now, I always thought that the story of David and Goliath was a story about overcoming astronomical odds, overcoming obstacles, dealing with challenges that might seem very difficult, if not impossible, to deal with. But as this guy says, part of the story is that David, one thing he had inside that was on his side was the fact that he had faith that God would be with him. God would be there to help him out. Is that a message we want to teach kids? Like, oh yeah, if you want to deal with challenges, just trust that that God will be there to help you out. If you're ever having trouble, if you ever need to overcome an obstacle. No. The message should be like, yeah, you should work hard, you should have courage, you should have confidence in your abilities to overcome obstacles, and you should use your mind and try to figure stuff out and try to figure out how to deal with challenges. Not just hope that some mystical being in the heavens will be there to help you out.
Him. As he strides out onto the battlefield to face Goliath in single combat.
Was it faith in God that won World War II? Or was it the fact that Americans used their minds to build wonderful weapons like the atomic bomb? I believe, if I recall correctly, listening to a lecture, that was a crucial difference. I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's relevant. That was a crucial difference between the Americans and the Nazis and Imperial Japan. Especially Imperial Japan, they thought that they were just destined to win the war, and they didn't think that they really had to put much thought into how they dealt with the United States in the Pacific. Whereas, especially at the Battle of Midway, that was won due to code breakers and nerds, so to speak, and all the fancy battleships and airplanes. I mean, was it God that built those airplanes and battleships and submarines? Were there submarines in the Bible?
He holds the future of the Israelite nation, not to mention his own life.
I guess it is applicable given that we're talking about a war between, the Israelites and who else? Was it the Philippines? Not the Philippines. No, I can't remember. Who cares? But yeah, there's a war going on here, and David uses a slingshot. But what if he used his mind to, I don't know, build an AR-15 to blow Goliath out of the way? I guess he didn't need it, though.
In his hands. Wrapped up in all of this tension and drama are valuable lessons that any child can profit from. David refuses to be intimidated by a bully. He's willing to act, to show resolve, even in the face of his own self-doubt. His actions...
Again, these are pretty good lessons. I just disagree with the idea that David should just have faith that God's just going to be on his side.
Paint a portrait of true heroism in the face of true danger. Isn't that the kind of strength we want our children to emulate? To be able to defend themselves and later their families and their country. Or how about the story of the brothers, Cain and Abel? Abel, the shepherd, looks at his lot and he's filled with gratitude for his blessings. He offers as a gift to God the very best of his flock.
Yeah, that's how Abel was successful for his lot in life. It was just given to him by God. That's how life works. God just gives you stuff, and if he gives you stuff, you should give him a present, like burning that bundle of sticks over there.
Cain, the farmer, is selfish, unsatisfied with what...
He's selfish. Let's see how selfish Cain is. Let's see how rationally self-interested Cain is.
And he offers only a paltry gift of grain. When God favors Abel's present, Cain allows jealousy to overwhelm him. God speaks to Cain and tells him, I know you're feeling angry, but you can overcome those feelings and master them. Cain doesn't listen, doesn't control his jealousy.
Yeah, because selfish people, self-interested people, let envious feelings get the best of them.
Kills Abel. When God asks,
And yeah, they just resort to murder. Selfish people who want to live a good life, they just kill other people who have more stuff than them.
Cain, where is Abel, your brother? Cain lies and says, I do not know. And then, am I my brother's keeper? Yes, should have been Cain's answer to his own question.
Get the hell out of here with that nonsense.
We are responsible for ourselves, and we have an obligation to others.
Says who?
We all have emotions and passions.
Just because Jesus says so? Or God said so? And the ironic thing here is that it's altruism that ultimately makes people jealous of other people. Because if you're trying to live by this impossible standard where you're constantly thinking about other people and sacrificing for other people, well, if you see other people who are doing well and are not sacrificing as much as you are, and they're living a good life, they have lots of money, they might be riding around on a jet ski, they might be eating at nice restaurants, well, you're going to be envious of them because they have more stuff than you, partly because they're not sacrificing like a total idiot. Of course, I'm sure religionists like this guy would try to square this contradiction by saying, oh, well, you'll get rewarded in heaven, and, if you sacrifice here on earth, because again, this life here on earth, this doesn't really matter that much. So if you sacrifice enough, eventually you'll get rewarded in heaven for being a good boy or being a good gal. Just have faith that God will provide for you.
But God has given us the tools to master those emotions. And master them we must if we are to live a productive and ethical life.
You hear that? Yeah. If you ever need to deal with emotions, just hope God will be there to help you out, to give you the strength to deal with your emotions.
Most important of all, life is a gift from God. We have no right to take it away from the innocent. Murder is evil. All these lessons are contained in this one story.
What if God says that murder is legitimate? And this is an issue, if you've noticed recently, this Grayson Fritz guy from Tennessee, who's been in a few viral videos talking about how outrageous it is that gays in America are given equal rights, and how homosexuals should be put to death because, after all, it's in the Bible, this wonderful book called the Bible. It's right here. There you go. And all he's saying is, he's like, look, don't get mad at me. God is just saying it in the Bible. It's God that's saying that this is a sin. I think he even added adulterers in with this. Like, yeah, if you're committing adultery, you should be put to death. And again, if America is a Christian country founded on Judeo-Christian values or whatever, then why not base the United States law on biblical law? Why not apply Leviticus to the Constitution? After all, America is a Christian country founded on Christian values.
The stories of David and Goliath.
So yeah, God permits murder, but if someone is sinning, if someone is sleeping, if a man is sleeping with another man, or a man cheats on his wife, then yeah, okay, it's totally okay to murder those people because they're sinning.
Goliath and Cain and Abel are only two examples of the many invaluable lessons the Bible offers to children. Think of a lesson, and there's a Bible story to teach it about family dynamics, friendship, forgiveness, leadership.
What about saving money or investing in the stock market? You're not going to find that in the Bible.
Leadership, humility, about what is important and what is not. The Bible also teaches children more effectively than any book ever that they are not the center of the universe. They're accountable to their parents and to God. Children who internalize
Yeah, kids, stop thinking about yourselves. You're accountable to God.
this lesson are much more likely to be kinder and more mindful of how they behave than those who do not. The Bible discourages narcissism. Of course, the Bible is not merely a children's book. It's a library of wisdom for everyone. Here's how Abraham Lincoln,
Library of nonsense.
who was not a churchgoer, but who was steeped in the Bible, described it. In regard to this great book, it is the best gift God has given to
What a pathetic appeal to authority. Hey, Abraham Lincoln liked the Bible, therefore it must be good.
God has given to man. But for it, we could not know right from wrong. And all things most desirable for man's welfare are to be found portrayed in it. As Lincoln suggests, the Bible is the moral foundation on which Western civilization is built and a point of shared reference.
Yeah, the Bible was, Western civilization during the Dark Ages was built on Christian values and the Bible. Of course, the knuckleheads over at Prager U don't really think that the Dark Ages were that dark. They weren't really that big of a deal. Why is everyone making a big deal about the Dark Ages? But of course, like how modern day American socialists, whenever you bring up the horrors of the Soviet Union or the horrors currently going on in Venezuela as an example of socialism, they say, oh, that wasn't real socialism. Yeah, modern day American religionists, I'm sure if you pointed to the Spanish Inquisition or the Crusades, the horrors that went on during the Crusades, or any of these other theocratic religious monarchies, they would say, well, that's not real Christianity. Let's be real here. It only took, 1,500 years since the fall of Rome to get to the United States of America? Why didn't the Bible produce the United States of America earlier?
Up until the 1960s, you could cite a Bible story and most people knew exactly what you were talking about. Everyone from Shakespeare to Dickens to Franklin Roosevelt.
Oh yeah, that wonderful Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Yeah, I'm sure you could probably use biblical references to justify the New Deal.
We're losing that connection. And that is a terrible shame and a profound cultural loss. If you don't have some biblical literacy, you can't fully appreciate the powerful words of Martin Luther King, for example. Only if you know the story of Moses can you fully appreciate King's poetic vision of having seen the promised land. Of the Bible, Yale theologian George Lindbeck famously said, "There was a time when every educated person, no matter how professedly unbelieving or secular, knew the actual text from Genesis to Revelation." Our goal should be to get back to that kind of biblical literacy. And it starts with our children. Your children. Read them a Bible story tonight. Who knows? You might learn a few things too.
You might have a good laugh. In fact, I would say one of the benefits of reading and knowing the Bible is to call bullshit on knuckleheads like this guy.